Yo, what's going on, guys? Kashi here. And honestly, I didn't plan to make this video at all. I've been traveling around Asia recently, and this morning I woke up to a message from one of my students telling me that he hit $10,000 last month in July. And honestly, I love waking up to messages like that because it gives me so much energy and gives me all the drive and motivation to work hard the rest of the day. And the reason I wanted to make this video is, as soon as I saw that text, it made me realize how simple and easy it is to make six figures online in 2025 with high ticket sales if you actually put your mind to it. And in this video, I kind of want to walk you through the two pathways that most people take. The first pathway is the traditional pathway to get to six figures online. And then the second pathway is the non-traditional path, which is how you can make six figures completely online with freedom and having the ability to travel the world. So I guess a bit of context about myself. I've been in the high ticket sales space for the last 2 years, and I went from making 0 to 10K a month, which is six figures, in exactly 6 months, and my life completely changed. All right, so let's go down the traditional path that most people go. And the reason I say this, for context, I have direct experience in this because I was brought up in a very traditional household. My parents were immigrant parents that worked super, super hard to get to where they are right now, and they've worked 9 to 5s their entire life. And so I have direct experience from this. And growing up, what I've been taught my entire life was go to university, be smart, get a job, get an internship, and ideally hit six figures a year, and you'll be sorted for the rest of your life. Now, here's the thing. This might have worked back in the 1950s, 1980s, maybe even the 2000s potentially. But in 2025, with inflation, with jobs not being available, it just doesn't work. And I'm going to explain this to a T right now. So if we were to go down the traditional path, you'd have to go through a university degree to pretty much land a decent 9 to 5 job that'll get you six figures a year. Now, the average university degree takes around 3 to 4 years. Now, here's the problem. 3 to 4 years is time that you're spending getting a piece of paper that makes you $0 in those 4 years. Okay? And let's forget the $0 aside. In those 4 years as well, you're not learning any practical skills, right? You're not actually doing stuff. You're not actually learning a high value skill. You're more learning information about the industry you're going to get into, which you're going to have to do more practice after you graduate. So what most people don't realize is the 4 years of uni is kind of like La La Land because you're just learning information and consuming books. Now, after you graduate from university in 4 years, you realize that, damn, I actually don't know how to do this in real life. You go and apply for internships or you find a lower paying job, right? It's very rare to land a six-figure salary straight out of university. Now, the average intern is getting paid anywhere from, $30,000 a year all the way to maybe even $60,000, $70,000 every single year, okay? And most people stay in that internship period for, I would say 4 or 5 years. And eventually, over time, as they gain more experience, they do the hard work, they're still trading a lot of their time for money, doing overtime, they will eventually hit that six figures a year mark that everyone's talking about. Now, by this time, you're going to be at least 30 years old, right? Now, let me tell you why this traditional path is probably the least efficient way to get to wealth, to get to freedom, to be the best possible version of yourself as it can be. Here's why. There's 3 reasons. 1, your 20s from 20 to 30 are the best years of your life. And it's when the human body, and especially the human brain, it's still developing and learning new ideas. And whatever you learn and apply in these years of your life, you're going to learn for life. And this is basically what decides what type of person that you're going to be. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't change after you're 30 years old. Of course you can. It's just going to be increasingly difficult as you get older. Your 20s to 30 is really where you find purpose in your life. The second thing that I find is debt. In those 10 years, a lot of people have to pay university debt. They have to pay exam paper debt. They have various other expenses that happen with, living at university, going to university. They're in a lot of debt, and that can range anywhere from $40,000 to $100,000, which they have to pay off over time from trading their time for money. And the third thing is, in those 10 years, you've pretty much gained 0 practical skills that you can apply where you don't have to trade your time for money. And for the rest of your life, after you're 30, all the way up until 67 years old, you're always going to have to trade your time for money in a 9 to 5. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to provide for yourself and the family. And the fourth thing is, by the time that you're, 25, 30 and you want to go and buy a house, you have very little savings that you can actually put towards even putting a deposit on a house, let alone buying a house debt-free without a mortgage. And that's where the second cycle of trap comes in after you're 30 is mortgage. Interest rates are going through the roof and you're going to be slaving away at a 9 to 5, trying to penny pinch, and most of that money is going to go towards the mortgage, which you got yourself into because you didn't learn the skills required between 18 to 30. Now, this is the traditional path that most people go down. And on top of all of this, let's say all of this is fine. You make 6 figures a year, you somehow find a job, even though jobs are so hard to find these days, and you're able to buy a house with a mortgage. Even if all of that succeeds for you, you're still tied down to a location, working under a boss and making the same amount of money every single year and working 52 weeks of the year to live for 2 weeks. Even if everything goes to plan, that is like the best case scenario. And honestly, hearing that, you should be pretty scared, because I know I was. And that is the reason why I got into this space. And so then when I explain this to people, a lot of people tell me, okay, Kashi, I get it. It's scary, but what do I do? I'm stuck in this situation. So now let me walk you through the path of someone who didn't go down the traditional path. And that's my journey. So for context, I started off in the online business space exactly 2 years ago. And there's a lot of business models that you can choose from, and I think every single one of them works. But the business model that I chose to go down was high ticket sales. Now, for those of you that don't know what high ticket sales is, feel free to go watch this roadmap that I made to go from 0 to 10K a month, explaining exactly what high ticket sales is, which will give you a lot of context. But basically, at a high level, there's a lot of online creators that sell high ticket products, influencers, fitness coaches, gurus online, and high ticket sales is becoming sales reps for them. And in return for that, you get a commission. And the beautiful thing about that is you're not trading your time for money. You're actually learning a valuable skill set that you can do online at home with freedom. So exactly 2 years ago, July 2023, I invested $3,000 into a one-on-one mentor to teach me high ticket sales to get to where I am now. And I remember going into it, I was very scared, I was very nervous, and for me, I just didn't know anything other than the traditional path. However, as soon as I got into it, I was all in. And in my first 3 months with that one-on-one mentorship, I landed an opportunity with a 7-figure business. I was a high ticket sales rep for them, and I made 7K a month in 3 months of starting that mentorship. And honestly, for me, that was a huge deal because I could make 7K a month at home with freedom without doing a 9 to 5 and traveling to and from work, which was amazing. And I went on for the next 3 months, so 6 months into my high ticket sales journey, to make 10K a month. Now, for some of you, that might seem very unrealistic right now, especially when I just put into context the traditional path that most people go down. It takes people 5 to 10 years to hit something like 10K a month. But I just achieved it in 6 months at 18. And it's not even just about the money, guys. Think about it. Making 10K a month at a young age, in the best years of my life, while traveling, while having full freedom to go wherever I want, whenever I want, with whoever I want, it's hard to describe, but it's complete freedom, to be honest. And apart from the money and apart from the freedom, and this is the part that most people don't realize, is yes, sure, I made 10K a month, but the most important thing that I had an actual skill set that's valuable in this economy in 2025. Sales is the best skill set anyone can learn because it literally brings money into a business. If I was an engineer, like I was going through in university, and I decided to go down that path, yeah, sure, maybe down the line I'd make 6 figures, but I can easily get laid off. I can easily get kicked out. It will be very hard for me to find a job because there's so many engineers and they don't provide direct value for a business. Instead, they get replaced by things like AI, by softwares, and inflation. It's just not sustainable, right? And the cool thing about high ticket sales is your income is scalable. It's not like a 9 to 5 where you stay at six figures for years, sometimes even decades, working the same amount of hours, if not more. With high ticket sales, the better you are at your skill set, the more money that you make, right? And I like to think of myself, even though I'm not really, a sports guy, like a sports person. In sports, in film acting, etc., the better you are at what you do, the more money that you get paid. Again, this is the benefit of working for yourself. Same thing with high ticket sales. However, with a 9 to 5, let's say you work 20 years as an engineer. You can be the best engineer in the world. And yes, sure, you might get some salary increases, but at the end of the day, you're still getting paid by the hour and you're not getting as financially rewarded as you should be. And honestly, like in today's age, it's so simple to make money online because social media is increasing. AI is booming. High ticket sales is becoming an industry that's becoming more well known, and online businesses are becoming more popular more than ever. However, the sad reality is still a lot of people don't get started with high ticket sales. And earlier this morning, when I got that message, I actually did some reflecting and journaling, and I came to the conclusion that there's basically 5 main bottlenecks that people face when they try to get into high ticket sales or online business. And the first one is the fact that no one really knows about high ticket sales. Do this right now. Go and search up on YouTube, on a new tab, how to make money online. And if you go through the results, most likely it's going to be dropshipping, trading, affiliate marketing, SMMA, really popular business models, and high ticket sales, it isn't necessarily heard of. That's number one. Most people just don't know that you can make money online while traveling the world and having freedom and make 6 figures. Most people just don't know it exists. Now, the second thing is that they just don't know what to do, right? So a lot of people hear about online business, high ticket sales, but they just don't know how to do it. And I find that's a big reason as well, is they don't know how to take that first step. They don't know where to get started. How do I find a role? How do I find people to sell for? What even is high ticket sales? A lot of people just don't have clarity on that, right? And number 3, let's say you do figure out how to get there and you understand the steps that you need to take. The third thing is people just don't work hard enough. That's a big one. And I'll give you context. When I started off in the high ticket sales space, there was this dream that was being sold online about online business that, you know, if you're getting into the online space, you're going to be sitting on the beach, drinking coconuts, making thousands of dollars online, working a couple of hours a day. Like, guys, that's just not true, okay? Now, down the line, may give it a couple years, potentially, 100% it is possible. But at the start, you're going to have to go through the grind phase and lock in. When I started off, I would spend all day sitting in my room, building this business off the ground, doing whatever it takes to get as good as I can with the skill set that I wanted to learn, which was high ticket sales. So yeah, number 3 is definitely people do not work hard enough. And number 4, which is probably the most important one, is the lack of a mentor. Because yes, most people don't even know online business exists. The second thing is people don't know what to do. The third thing is even if you know what to do, you don't work hard. But the fourth thing is people are very inefficient with what they work on and they don't have proper guidance. And like I was saying earlier, the best decision I ever made was investing into a mentor before I even started the journey, which is actually a big reason for why I went from 0 to 10K in less than 6 months. That's a big reason for my success. So having someone who's already gone through it is probably one of the best ways you can learn. And this isn't just coming from my journey. This is coming from like the history of time. Okay, let's think back to like 1900s, even like 1800s. We still had doctors, we still had nurses, we still had engineers, we still had architects, we still had all these professions, and the university wasn't really a very common thing back in the day. So how did people learn? Well, a lot of doctors would go and teach their sons how to become a doctor, and then their son would teach their son, and their son would teach their son. A farmer would teach his son how to become a farmer and teach his son how to become a farmer and so on. So how we learned was by learning from people that have already did it from real practical experience. And that is something that university just doesn't teach you. Okay? And having a mentor is why I say that making 6 figures online in today's age is it's just so simple, to be honest. Now, number 5, and the most common reason and most common bottleneck that people face in high ticket sales is fear. It's 100% fear. Most people live in this fear that I can't do it, or I'm not a sales guy. I'm very introverted. Online business isn't for me. I'm not really good with tech. And they have a lot of these limiting beliefs that prevent them from growing and getting to where they want to go. And that fear is deep installed from their childhood, from the way they were brought up, from whatever they've seen for the first 18, 20 years of their life, like I was. And so if I had to give advice on that, it's totally normal to feel scared. It's totally normal to feel nervous before getting into something new. But at the end of the day, you're just going to have to take that leap of faith and try it and fail and pick yourself up, because that is the best and only way to succeed and get to where you want to go. So I hope this video gave you some value and shows you just how simple it actually is to make 100K, 6 figures a year online with high ticket sales, and why going down the traditional pathway is probably the hardest pathway that you can choose to go compared to the online space. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day, and yeah, peace.